only one factory has a machine shop, so not a whole lot of tanks going to be coming out. And it's odd, we don't see, when Terrans go this mech build, we don't see a lot of tanks. We see probably 4 or 5 tanks with a control group and a half of Goliaths or something. Muta's now coming out, so not a whole lot of them though. 2 base Mutas are probably not going to be a whole lot in the mid game, but only 5 or 6, so not going to do a ton of damage. Frozean spots out that third base, but the Vulture is going to be chased away. And the Mutas are massing up, I suppose maybe for some sort of harassment. I think there's enough Goliaths on the ground to keep that from happening. And Charon Booster is probably up by now. Well, only 3 Goliaths there. Okay, more back in the main. There's 6 Goliaths. And an engineering bay going down. So Frozean may have some inkling that this is coming. We'll see whether the Goliaths are enough to hold it off, but I think they will be. Especially if Hyvaa gives Frozean time to put turrets up, and turrets are going up now, so Frozean should be relatively safe from this harass. And Spider Mine's actually performing a scouting function, probably saw those Mutas hanging around the middle of the map. And drones now transferring to the third base, and the Vulture heading around to pick a couple of them off. And doesn't actually get any though, so good thought by Frozean, but it doesn't go anywhere. Oh, and he might get one of these though. Probably will get one. So kills 1 drone, and he's going to see whatever tech that is. I'm not sure what that building is coming in now. Sees all the Mutas, of course, and they annihilate the Vulture. They still haven't shown us that building, so we'll see. It could be Queen's Nest. He could be going for fast hive tech, which is probably the recommended response for Zerg against this mid-game mech push. You need to get Dark Swarm out to counteract the Vultures and limit the effect of the siege tanks. Pretty big force though pushing up the middle now, and those Mutas aren't going to be able to keep that force back too much, because with those turrets up, Frozean will only need very few Goliaths in the back, but he doesn't have any Goliaths in the back, and 2 of those turrets are going to go down. Some Goliaths struggling to get into position. Meanwhile, the bulk of this force is just pressing in, but well, the Mutas aren't stacked very well, and they're being warded away. So we'll see. A lot of Hydras coming out, but they're not going to be enough to stop this force once the tanks siege up. Oh, and Hydra is being caught in transition. They are taking the high ground, and that's something, but I don't think this is going to go well for Hyvaa. Pressing in with all those Mutas. He's got another force, 2 other forces coming in from the side, actually, and this might be, it does a decent amount of damage, but 3 of the tanks survive, and at least half the Goliaths. So on the whole, I think that was a win for Frozean. Terra just needs to keep the bulk of their army intact while beating down each Zerg army that comes at them, and Frozean so far is doing that successfully. Few Goliaths being caught out, and they will be taken down by this force, but they do kill a lot of Zerglings and a couple Hydralisks in the process. Oh, and now tanks are sieged on that ridge, and this is going to be very, very bad for Hyvaa. This is a tough position for Zergs to assault once the Terran is settled in. Very narrow ridges, high ground, everything that a Terran player wants to hold off this sort of Hydra push. And Hyvaa's going to come in from 3 different sides at once, though, and he's got a lot of Hydras, so he may be able to take this down. Only 2 tanks surviving. So, well played by Frozean, and he's going to be able to keep shelling this hatchery, and more reinforcements heading up. And Hyvaa really, really needs to break this push, because otherwise he's going to be stuck on 2 bases against 2 with a military disadvantage, and that's a position that's practically unwinnable for a Zerg player. So he needs to do something here, and I'm not sure what it is he's trying to do. He's got a few forces in the middle, not nearly enough to take on that number of Goliaths, and the hatchery's gone down. So I would say this is close to GG for Hyvaa. He's in a very bad position at the moment. He's got some Hydras pressing across the middle, and even with the Overlord, one of them gets taken out by a Spider Mine. But a big force for Frozean, and enough forces at the main, too, to counteract these Hydras that are pushing in. Starport with Control Tower going down, that may be for drop, or maybe for something else. Tank carelessly getting caught out of position and going down. A bunch of Hydras pressing, and they may actually be able to do some damage here. And this may counteract the economic loss. Frozean needs to siege that tank. He does siege the tank up on the ridge, but he's allowing a lot of his forces to be killed. And if this command center goes down, this may even the game back up. Wow, Frozean allowing his command center to be killed. And he's going to lose a bunch of SCVs there, too. And wow, that was sloppy play from Frozean. Had this game, I would say, all but locked up, and all he needed to do was, not let those tanks get picked off, siege them up on the ridge, and now this force is force pressing out into the middle, and that's being annihilated by Hyvaa too. So Frozean suddenly, from being almost totally in control of the game, is struggling to hold on, and he's got very low minerals left at the main. He's distance mining while he puts up that command center, and falling back into a very defensive stance with 3 siege tanks up on the ridge. And that huge force that he had assaulting Hyvaa's third base is just about totally gone now. Tried to get back and got caught in transition. So, well, I guess my bad for calling things prematurely, but I think also Frozean's bad for snatching potential defeat from the jaws of almost certain victory. We'll see what Hyvaa decides to do. That drone sitting there, the mine's going to prevent him from putting down the hatchery, but he has put down his third hatchery. So, not sure whether he'll try to press in before Frozean finishes that command center. Frozean now moving out, and that's a bad decision. He doesn't have enough forces now to contend with what Hyvaa has on the ground. Command center almost up, and he's still got some in the back, or a tank in the back, and hopefully 1 or 2 on the ridge. But a whole bunch of Hydras, and then a whole bunch of Lings in separate forces for Hyvaa, and Hyvaa now is macroing up. It's probably going to take a lead. We'll see where this, science vessel's probably going to be coming out of this starport. We haven't really seen any tech that would, that the science vessels would be effective against. There were mutas out for a while, but the mutas are gone now, so science vessels don't do all that much against straight Hydra and Ling. Maybe if there's a transition into Defiler tech or something like that, they could become effective. But I think right now Frozean just needs to pump more Goliaths and get a big ground force out again so that he can try to break this Zerg force in the middle. He also needs to think about claiming another base because his main is practically mined out now. And that bottom right-hand base is probably the natural choice, and is reasonably easy to hold given the small ramp choke if he puts a couple tanks and some Goliaths in there. So hopefully he'll try to do that relatively soon, otherwise he'll be operating 1 base against 3 for a little while, since Zergs take a lot longer to mine out their main. And that won't be a good position for him at all. And it looks like he has mined out his main, and I'm not sure if he's, Hyvaa is pretty low at his main too, so it may sort of even out, but I think Frozean's still going to need to pick up another base pretty soon. And big force there going to intercept those Goliaths. Nothing doing for Frozean.